Hey guys, how's it going? Back with another daily update video. It is Wednesday, July 15th. It's 4:58 p.m. so the markets have been closed for a little bit now. And, you know, just another meh day in the market. I'm getting a little anxious. I feel like I want to open a position, but then I also feel like, no, don't force a trade. So I'm kind of in this middle zone of I don't know what to do, because I even thought about not making a video today because it's just me seeing the same old stuff over and over again. And it's not really anything new for the past couple of days. Just this market has been really unpredictable this past week and the past few days, that it's just like I don't want to take an unnecessary risk just trying to get into the market, just trying to have a play open, because I think that's how you get in trouble. So we'll see how tomorrow looks. If there's a little bit more stability in the market, maybe if there's a big run up or a run down in the market, I'm hoping for a run down, a red open, because then I could open up a put position and get in again at a good premium and a good strike price on whichever stock I choose. And that's the other problem, that right now I don't even know what stocks I want to play. I keep an eye on my tickers, and I would look at the semis. I even looked at them today at AMD and Micron, thinking if there was a good opportunity at any point in the day to get into a cash good put, and their premiums just weren't there. I mean, I even looked at opening a position not for a Friday expiration, but for expiration next Friday. I was looking at July 24th expiration dates, and still the premiums weren't that great. I just couldn't find a good trade that I liked, that I was getting a good return on my risk and a good amount of premium for the amount of risk I was taking. I just couldn't find anything I liked, so I didn't want to force anything. So we'll see what tomorrow shows, and I'll keep a look on other stocks. Like I looked at Disney as well. Again, same thing. Didn't really find anything that I liked. Didn't find a good setup. One thing that's interesting is Netflix has earnings tomorrow. So it might be interesting to see what happens with Netflix, because that's one of the FANG stocks, the big tech stocks. So if Netflix has good earnings and a good reaction to the earnings, it might push up some of the FANG stocks with it. The other thing to keep in mind is that AMD has earnings on the 28th. So it's about 2 weeks from now. So I was thinking at some point of getting into AMD, thinking that AMD's volatility was going to be higher because it has earnings coming up, which means its premiums are going to be higher. But for some reason, as of right now, I feel like its premiums have not risen to where I expected it to be or want them to be. Maybe next week AMD will have that pop in premiums. We'll have to wait and see. But if I do end up opening a position tomorrow, obviously I'll let you know. But I won't open it for an expiration this Friday, because for a 2 data expiration option or a 2 DTE, you're not going to collect a good premium for the good return on risk, and you're going to end up getting in at a strike price that's maybe $1 or $2 away from where the current stock price is. So it's just not a good buffer for me. So if I do open a position, it'll probably be for the following Friday, the 24th, as terms of the expiration. But one thing I saw today was Space actually jumped up to $20, or almost $20. It jumped almost to like 19 and some change. Actually, it did break a little over 20. And I haven't seen Space at that level since beginning of May. And I think that was on good news, because they named a Disney executive as their new CEO. So I think that was probably a run up on Space because of that news that broke. It's kind of ironic that right now this little advertisement for TradingViews is a rocket ship, and I'm talking about Space right now. But Space also has earnings coming up on August 3rd for the period that's ending in June 2020. So also keep that in mind if you're playing Space. But yeah, just looking at these graphs, here's AMD. I can't find a good setup. I don't like where the RSI is right now. It's kind of in a no man's land. Micron's kind of the similar story. It's a little bit actually more towards the overbought category. I did look at Micron possibly at some point in the day when we had a little bit of a drawdown, but again, it didn't really dip to where I wanted to. I want to get Micron at like the mid 40s strike price in terms of a put, and AMD in the high 40s. But again, the setups just weren't there. And Disney today had a run up, but it was kind of bouncing up and down around the 119, 120, 121 range. Not a lot of movement on Disney. And like I said, I don't like Disney right now. I mean, look at it. It had a huge run up the past about week or two, going from a price of 108 all the way up to like 120 right now. So I feel like it's almost overextended, and maybe it's due for a big drawdown again. So I'm staying out of Disney, especially because the theme parks are still open, even though the cases are increasing day by day in Florida. So who knows, maybe there will be a surprise announcement at some point that Disney will finally bite the bullet and close down their parks again. And I think if that happens, that their price will tank again. Like, not tank all the way to like 90 or 100, but that day there will be a big drawdown, because that's pretty significantly bad news if Disney ends up closing its parks again. But here's Netflix. I mean, had a big gap up and kind of gap down. I shouldn't say gap up and gap down, but a run up and a run down is more accurate. And you can see it was oversold at this point on July 14th. And then it had a decent run up. But again, it's also in this no man's land of an RSI around 50. So it doesn't really know, or at least I don't know, where it wants to go or what it wants to do. I just haven't found a decent stock or decent ticker right now that I feel has given me a good setup. So that's why I've stayed out of the market, because making no money is still better than losing money, right? So I'm okay with that. And like I said, I've already made a decent return the past few weeks and past few months that I'm happy with it. I can take essentially a 0% return for this week, and I'll still be fine for this coming year. So I'm not going to force a trade. I mean, let's take a quick look at the heat map here. Mixture of more green than red, but the red is in the big tech stocks, or at least sideways in the big tech stocks. I mean, Amazon was down 2.4, but Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, all pretty much sideways again today. Micron and AMD out of the semi sector had a little bit of a run up today, about 1.1 and 1.6% gains. Nvidia was down a little bit by 1%, but usually the semis didn't really do anything either in terms of Intel, Qualcomm, Texas Instruments. They just kind of traded sideways. You know, this is what's crazy about the market. The banks were up, even though their earnings are not great. So I don't understand what this market is doing and what it's pricing in. It just does not make any sense, where banks who, you know, logically are, you could consider not doing well right now, their earnings reflect that they're not doing well right now, yet the prices keep getting inflated. I mean, look at Wells Fargo. It's up another 4.5% today. Absolutely crazy. It just does not make any sense to me. I mean, Truist Financial is up almost 5%. US Bancorp up almost 4%. PNC up almost 3%. JP Morgan up 1.5%. It's just craziness, absolute craziness in my opinion. I know a lot of this was because of the vaccine pump that happened overnight. Moderna supposedly reported some decent or some good results in terms of their, I believe, phase 2 clinical trials. So I figured once that news came out, and of course it came out after hours yesterday, that there would be a big run up after hours in pre-market this morning. And I thought that there would be a green day today, but you never know, because you don't know how much profit taking is going to happen in the morning. And then it might end up being a sideways day or even a red day. It's just so unpredictable every day that even days where you're fairly certain that it's going to be red or fairly certain that it's going to be green, the opposite happens and you're just left scratching your head. And I just hate days like that. I would rather have days where there's really no news going on, because that's the days where Theta Gang shines. Because days where things are just sideways and there's no real action either way, time again is still on your side. You just let time eat away at the premiums and you just collect your max profit by letting your options expire worthless. So those are the days that I love. I want a week where I can open a position Monday morning, and then the whole week there's no earnings, there's no crazy news, there's no vaccine pumps, there's no trade war news, nothing. I just want a very boring day and a very boring week, and I can just let time eat away at the premiums, i.e. I just collect profits slowly with time. But anyway, that was my day again today. Again, I decided whether it's even worth making a video today, but I've been uploading a video every day consistently for, I think we're up to over 100 videos now, so I didn't want to break that streak. But let's just take a quick look at bar charts, see what some of the popular options were. Looks like GE was very popular today, Apple was popular, but again, look at these AMD calls. People are really bullish. This is something interesting. The AMD 5750 strike call and the 5750 strike put were top 3 and 4 most popular options. So I wonder if people are trying to play a strangle in terms of earnings, or maybe they're divided in terms of whether they want to be bullish or bearish on AMD right now. That's actually interesting, because I can't recall the last time I saw AMD puts very high up on this kind of most popular options list. So that's something to keep an eye on. Ford is up here again, maybe riding that news of the Bronco release that happened, I believe 2 days ago now. Here's another AMD put. Again, surprising, that's a 55 put. Usually we're used to seeing AMD 55 calls, but both 55 and 57 calls and puts are here in the top of the list. So interesting. Maybe people are predicting for some reason, maybe AMD is not going to beat their earnings, or maybe they'll have a drawdown from earnings. The one interesting thing about AMD though is if you go back to their earnings from the previous couple sessions, for example, the most recent earnings session, they were expecting a 0.18 estimate in terms of the earnings per share, but they were low. They only reported a 0.14 earnings per share. So actually the stock price dropped pretty significantly. Actually, the day of earnings, it was roughly $56, ended up all the way drawing down to 49. Again, if we go back one more, here they estimated 0.31 or 31 cents. They reported 15 cents. And again, the price dropped from roughly $51 to $46. So it dropped significantly by like $4 or $5 both times. If we go back one more time, again, estimates were 18 cents, reported 11 cents. And we'll just zoom in here. So again, it dropped, but not as significantly. It went from about $33 to $32. So it seems like AMD doesn't really beat earnings and it always drops after earnings. I mean, again, if we go back one more time, it was 8 cents per share. It reported 3 cents. So again, it dropped from approximately $33, $34 all the way down to $27. So, you know, maybe what I'll think about doing is waiting until after earnings, like July 29th, and then opening up a cash secured put maybe on the 29th or 30th to see if we do get a drawdown. Because AMD always tends to come back up. So if that's the case, then I could possibly or hopefully get in on a cash secured put on AMD at a low strike price for a good premium. And then if it goes back up, I should be able to collect max profit by letting the option expire worthless. So that would be a dream scenario actually. So maybe I'll keep that in the back of my mind as far as the potential play in the coming 2 weeks. But yeah, let me know how your day went. Let me know how your week is going. Did you open any new positions today? Did you close any positions? As always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And happy trading.